I'm in the truck, just pulled up to Nick's place because I'm going to go ahead and help him with a project that he has. Let's go ahead and take a look. The first thing he let me know is he's switching over to the Yukon Hardcore hubs, which he's got right there. He's pulled his front seats to move them to the rear. So that way he's got bucketed rear seats with his straps, and he's going to get new ones for the front. The reason he did this is he wanted his passengers a bit safer in the rear than just running with a standard stock seat. I think there were some seatbelt issues on that. And the other thing, ooh. We know what that is. We are getting this cross member. Nick's got a very nice flat belly. Yes, he does. But in order to do that, you basically, you need enough grease to, whatever. But slide, slippity slide. So we're trying to get this out. We're gonna get the cross member out so we can easily do the transfer case back here, which will manhandle and then get the transmission out. I didn't do such a good job recording yesterday. It was dark, it was kind of cold, but now we're after it. We have the Rubicon transfer case out, and we've detached the slave cylinder and the starter and the view plate. So it's time to go ahead and crack the bolts on the bell housing, and let's get this manual transmission out of there.
There's that one.
Well, that was a little wimpy. Got one up here.
That's the only one I can actually see on this side. Corner. I'm sure there's more, but...
There we go. So that was that bolt hole right there. Those two right there for the starter. That upper one.
There's no exhaust in the way.
Yeah, man. It's good for, head banging.
Oh, gee.
We have like 3 feet of 20-piece extensions. Try to get to a bell housing bolt.
Okay.
Something feels kind of stiff. Did we miss one on the driver's side? I think we're missing something on the driver's side.
Bolt right here.
One last bolt that's facing the other way behind the starter right here.
Yes.
That somebody with the last name of a color in this party just somehow.
Dr. Brown.
Yeah.
He left.
Like, lift that wiring on the very top. The loom.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up there.
Huh. What is holding us on?
I don't know. It's like it's hanging on something.
What is it being held up by?
Probably the exhaust pipe.
It is. Okay, we gotta go up. I don't know if I said this, but this is, so Nick's 07 to 11 with a manual.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a little bit different. This isn't your 12 to 18, but we had to undo the left side of his custom exhaust, and that gave us a few inches, and
Here she comes.
sometimes that's all she wants. And then we're just using one of the small transmission jacks. A big one over there.
Whatever's draining, like my oil leak,
Yeah.
it's back here.
Oh, oh, oh. Whoa, lady.
Yeah. Whoa, girl. There you go.
Okay, come on back, girlfriend. Ouch.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Come on, lady. Oh, turn it. There we go. Don't break the sensor. That's good. All right.
Good.
Well, because we had to put this big old 6x6 and we don't want to lift it off, we're just going to replace the crap that Nick wants in here. He's got a brand new one of those clutches, and then all this bearing stuff. He's got a new sweet kit that's going to replace all that, and that 3-bolted spindle that it rides on goes deuces.
This guy is that's your throwout bearing retainer. So you have your throwout bearing and your clutch fork, and then so all this stuff is the stuff that really gets funky. And you can see, I mean, this has got some deep grooves on it. I don't know if you feel it. I mean, they're not deep but for a bearing retainer. So a lot of your chatter, that's where it's all coming from right there.
So he's been hearing some chatter, a little ticking from vibration. And this is one of the solutions they came out with. How long ago, Nick? Not too long ago, right?
Last year, I think, or the year before. A couple years ago. It's not that old.
So
it wasn't there in 2020 when I did my clutch. So it's new enough.
Got a little bit of an oil leak. We'll look at that, but we pulled this out. We didn't have to obviously to go ahead and throw in the transfer case, but wanted to take care of some of the other issues while it was out. He was having this sensor right here constantly go out because there was some kind of vibration that was kind of messing up the sensor and breaking it. So he threw a washer that spaced it out, but you don't want that out, because when that goes out in the middle of his driving, it was cutting out on him, and he was on obstacles like Wall of Doom, which is really vertical. You don't want to lose your power. So here's the new product he paid for, bought and did. It's the Center Force Performance setup to replace that. And then he uses the Center Force clutch pack as well on that. He's had, sorry if I'm moving too fast, I'm trying to make anybody dizzy. He switched to this on his manual, but I think he just ordered a new one, which is a lot of money, but worth it in his opinion, to go ahead and get tighter shifts and stuff like that. So there's certain things you can do to make your manual go better. He's even, I think he's used the throttle commander before too, but all those little things lead into him driving that manual along with experience pretty well. But this is the new deal. So this replaces that whole spindle setup right here on that with this, and then you bolt that to it, right? And then instead of your fork coming out or your slave, this goes directly to it from your master. This goes out of the bell housing. There's another piece that connects to the master that connects to this. So hopefully it works as good, because it was not cheap. Here's the Ruby T case that he put in. So his was a sport, but he's done tons of upgrades. So these bad boys are 4-to-1, but there's something about like the 07 to 11. There's a difference between the manual and the auto, or 12 to 18, whatever that is, but that's pulled out. Even though it's thicker as far as front to back a little bit here compared to your Atlas, this Atlas is way heavier, and it's because of how thick the actual case is in there. And then these use planetary with a chain on there, and then the Atlas is fully geared out.
And then the hydraulic wire is right here.
Oh yeah.
Clutch.
Yeah. So Nick's not a guy that sits still very much. Yeah. He cranks that. He soldier boyed this thing, and he's got his.
Video ever.
It's not a how-to, more to be entertained by. So he's got his manual in, already installed the new clutch, and the new whatever that thing's called.
It's a internal hydraulic throwout bearing and slave cylinder.
Yeah, all that stuff. The franchise. And then he's messed with the clocking of this, meaning the angle at which you turn it, the minute hand and all that crap. Anyways, so he's thinking we're in a spot now where we can just throw this cross member in. This is a highly modified cross member, ladies and gents. we had to do this before to make it fit. And so now we're hoping everything goes smooth. The only thing he's concerned about is that front output yoke for the front drive shaft. If that's going to have any kind of interference with the cross member. So you can just imagine how much work went into this. And say lovey. Okay, run that back, Nick. What?
Okay, so this is your module for a JK and or a JL, the same module. And then this wire here is for, tells your Jeep it's in 4-wheel drive. That module this one right here, sensor, this tells you you're in low range. So your electronic stability control and braking assist lights and all that stuff function, and your dash lights function.
Your LaDasha works.
Yeah, it's all just spliced into where that original transfer case wire that you clipped off.
Yeah,
and then you run a power wire, and I ran it above the transmission and then above the firewall, and it goes into your fuse box. And they have Advanced Adapters has a fuse listed to pick.
They're splice ones, right?
Yeah, you just pop it into the fuse, and it's like a little fuse. You just stick it in there, and the wire comes out. Easy peasy. The cables, the new cables. So this cable shifting thing is brand new. They just finished it in November of 2023. There's no more bolt and nut adjustments on the cable shifters. It's all just plug and play pretty much. It's kind of a little different how you put it together. There's a little pin and a cotter pin that you put through, but
yeah, it looks different than the one I have.
But once you put it together, it works. You just have to.
Look at those fancy little blue lines and stuff. Dude,
Yeah,
on,
all this stuff looks new, and all this new insulation I put in.
Yeah, look at that, dude.
Yeah.
He's gonna bake himself a piece of bread on top of that. All right, so Nick and I are trying to get this back in, and then this wasn't lining up. And so head scratch for a minute, and then the thought came that the only thing that really allows that to be off, because it's the same size transmission and the same mount, was if the motor's moved with the motor mounts. So I'm not saying the motor mounts are bad, we'll have to look at it, but this much weight on the end, we have some flex in that, which will get this to line up. So Nick's going up with a pry bar, and we'll see if we can go ahead and get that to adjust the 1/4 to 1/2 inch we need to do to get it up and in.
This one there.
All right, we were able to get the thing on with a giant ratchet strap, and there, switch hands.
Switching the hands. He's a switch hitter.
And a lot of persuasion. And get these bolts in because of his flat belly kit, which is Mutimus, but oh, drippy drippy.
It's also custom because Gen Wright doesn't make it for a manual.
Okay, I think I'm on.
Okay. I need my wobble joint.
So what Nick and I are looking at is we've clocked, well, he's clocked this down as far down as it can go without it interfering right here. But when you turn this now, because we got it all set in there, it's hitting his tunnel area. And it's got to be because this is a manual transmission and where it's setting with the depth on that. But it's just right there. I mean, it starts to cut up right here. The likelihood is a BFH will hit a little spooner here to allow this to spin, but that's not ideal. Right, so that's the last bit. We got this up in here. Trying to get the last bolt hole through on the cross member. Or bolted through here. But it's just this last little bit. We got to get it to clear the tunnel. And usually you don't like to just bang holes in your tub just for the funsies of it. All right, so the area that Nick's going to probably have to go ahead and hit in is right here. So right where it starts to come up by the foot on your rig. It starts to bail right here. So right here in the corner, maybe right here in the side. So just need to relieve it right there. A few love taps later, And we got just enough clearance here out of the way. And anything else that's that tight, if there's any vibration, should self-clear. It's pretty easy, but yeah, not bad at all. Well, a lot's happened since the last clip that I took. Nick finished out the job, was able to go ahead and get measurements for his drive shafts to make sure that they're all up to date. Got everything tightened up and did the test drive. It's going really well. The only thing he's getting is a little bit of vibration in the floor of the tub because he feels like the vicinity of where the actual transfer case is at. It might even be, it's got to be that. So I was going to say it might be the transmission, but either way, he has plans on going ahead and throwing some sound barrier on there. We may have to do a little bit more clearancing on the tub away from the transfer case if it is getting some kind of vibration from that. But I know I didn't catch everything, but I hope you enjoyed it. Got to see that go in, and he's ready to do those front digs. We'll catch you on the next one.